This time on Talking Vehicles with Joe, part two of my descriptions of my company cars. By the way, this one is not scripted. In the past, I've been doing scripted videos. The good thing about scripted videos is they're very tight and very controlled. The bad thing is I'm reading to you, and I don't like to read to, I don't like to be read to. So I'm going to do it this time without a script, and we'll see how it goes. Let me know in the comments what you think of it. This is part two of my talk about my company cars. And basically what I'm doing right now is just kind of giving you a rundown of what I had and my general impressions of them. I have some interesting stories about them that I'll do in a later video when I do stories about some of the cars that I've owned. Where I left off was where I just changed jobs and got into where I got a brand new, or not a brand new, but I got another company car. The company car I received was a 3-year-old Oldsmobile, very nice Oldsmobile, fully loaded. Now, if that sounds familiar, it's identical to how I started my first job. Only this time it was 1984, and I received a 1981 Oldsmobile 98 Regency. Really nice car, fully loaded, almost every option you could get on it. Deep burgundy color, deep burgundy vinyl top, and kind of a claret red interior velour. Very nice. It had been the previous salesperson's car. Again, striking similarity to the first job. Had some miles on it. The only difference was this car was very, very well cared for. And I really, really enjoyed the car, but I only had it for less than 2 weeks. The company told me that they didn't want to keep a car that had mileage on it. The miles were up around 70,000 miles. They said it was about time for that car to come off the road and for me to get something else. And I was given a budget to go get a brand new car. So I looked around, and what fit the budget the best, that I liked the best, was a 1984 Mercury Marquis Brougham. Now, in 1984, the Marquis Brougham was on the Fox platform, Ford's Fox platform. So that meant it was a midsize. It wasn't the big full-size Panther platform. That was the Grand Marquis. But the Marquis Brougham that was in the budget that the company had given me, I was able to get one equipped with power windows, power locks, power steering and brakes, of course, tilt wheel, cruise control, AM/FM stereo, power trunk, power driver's seat, split seats, reclined on both sides. It was really a very nice car, nicely equipped for the money. The only downside to it was it had the 3.8 liter V6 engine instead of the 302, the 5 liter V8. And with the 3.8 liter V6 with fuel injection, which the car had, you only got a 3-speed automatic transmission. Oddly, that year, if you got the 3.8 liter carbureted, or the 5 liter, you got the automatic overdrive, but not with the fuel injected engine. Anyway, the car was a nice car. It was a good, reliable car. The only downside to it was the engine kind of droned at highway speed, and it wasn't a powerhouse. It was barely adequate power-wise. But I really liked the car. It rode and handled well. I'd had Fox platform vehicles previously and was always impressed with how well they handled and how well they rode for their size. Now, I only stayed in that job about 10 months, took another job that didn't provide a company car. But as a result of that job that I took when I left the one that gave me the company car, I was able to get hooked up with a company that needed a sales manager. And they did provide a company car. My first company car was a car that the salesman before me had driven. Does that sound familiar or what? It was a 1986 Ford Taurus, the top of the line Taurus. And I can't remember if that was the GL or the LX trim package in 86. It was one of those. Anyway, this car was nicely equipped. It had the 15-inch lacy spoke wheels. It had power driver's seat, power windows, power locks, tilt wheel, cruise control, AM/FM stereo, power trunk, and was a pretty nice car. And of course, the 3-liter with the automatic overdrive. The car had about 55,000 miles on it, had been very well cared for by the previous salesperson. And I drove it for a little over a year and approached 90,000 miles. And the car actually developed an engine problem that was necessitated bringing it off the road. And I received as its replacement a Ford Tempo GLS, a 1988 Ford Tempo GLS. Again, about a 3-year-old car. I have this pattern of getting about 3-year-old cars for company cars. This car had been the company's kind of office car that they used as a test mule for some of the products and also to run errands in, but it only had about 15,000 miles on it. Interestingly, about 3 months after I received that car, the company made a decision to change our compensation package and do away with company cars. But to compensate us for the loss of company cars, they gave us the car. So I received the title to this car. I very quickly, because I wasn't real fond of it, I quickly traded it in and got something else. Now, the last company car that I ever received was I had changed jobs again and received a 2001 Ford Explorer XLT. In 2001, there was 3 trim levels on the Ford Explorer, the XL, the XLT, and the Eddie Bauer. XLT being the middle range, of course. This one was reasonably well equipped. It had power windows, power locks, power driver's seat, cloth interior, AM FM cassette radio, or CD radio, I'm sorry, AM FM CD. The company I was working for, although I wasn't in the division that sold these, they made electronics. So they outfitted the vehicle with a navigation system. It was the old style nav that used CD-ROM maps and GPS positioning. So I had to put a CD-ROM in to get the head unit to operate. And it also had rear seat entertainment. It was a nice vehicle. It was a 4-liter V6 with the automatic overdrive. And it was a nice vehicle. I put about 55,000 miles on it. But once again, the company decided they didn't want to do company cars and go to a car allowance program. So after that car had about 2 years on it, it was time to give it up. And I went back to having just a car with a car allowance. So that's kind of the list of my company cars. Stay tuned for a future video where I talk about some of the adventures that I had with my company cars that I think are very interesting and I think you'll enjoy. I'm Joe Ferguson. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week on Talking Vehicles with Joe.